Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today's webinar is all about faxing options for VoIP. There's so many different ways of saying how new technology evolves around faxing, whether it's faxing as a service, fax over IP, VoIP, or virtual faxing or e-faxing. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. I just want to thank everyone for joining me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bre Fernie. I'm part of the team here at ClearlyIP in the role of Chief Marketing Officer, and I will be your presenter today. So today's webinar is all about faxing for business, some fun history, facts around fax, and an introduction to virtual faxing and how it really does improve operations for businesses that still rely on faxing as part of vital communications. Actually, several of our customers are not even aware that we have a virtual fax platform in connection with our SIP trunking. So we get asked a lot about it and just how virtual faxing works in general. I will have Tony Lewis, our CEO, joining me a little later on. I always enjoy teaming up with Tony for these type of webinars because he will step in and conduct a more technical live demonstration on our subject matter. So he's going to be showing you our virtual fax platform today and also help me with any technical questions you might have. So a couple of housekeeping items. Right now we have everyone muted, but feel free to post any questions at any time in the webinar control panel. We are also recording this webinar for your review later, and it will be posted on our YouTube channel and on our events page. I anticipate today's webinar will take anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes with some Q&A at the end. So let's jump in. So today's webinar is all about faxing. Yes, you heard it right. We are going to dive into the fascinating world of fax. That the devices that refuse to die despite being written off countless times. So many businesses and different industries and sectors rely heavily on fax communications. So by the end of this webinar, we will have reviewed some fun history of fax and relevance today, who's still using it and why, an introduction to virtual faxing and how exactly does it work, what are the benefits and advantages of moving to a virtual fax solution, and then of course a live demonstration of our virtual fax platform, SendFax.to, and then some Q&A. So for those of you who are not familiar and new here today, I'm going to start off with just a quick introduction to our company. So we are a team of very passionate business telecom phone experts, and we're very dedicated to developing innovative collaboration and voice solutions. And part of that, of course, is our fax platform. So really, we're a group of telecom gearheads who thrive on pushing the boundaries of what is really possible in the world of telecom and communication technology. So we're constantly seeking new ways to improve the way people work together, how we communicate, and how teams collaborate. And our mission really is to create new standards for ways to improve the way people work together, essentially, to make it more intuitive, efficient, and effective. So whether you're a partner or a reseller with us today, or even an end customer, or a large corporation or a small business owner, we really do have the expertise and experience to help you and deliver customized solutions that meet your needs, from VoIP systems to unified communication platforms, hosted on-premise phone systems, SIP trunking phones. We really do have a wide range of services. So if you're looking for a team of telecom phone geeks who are really passionate, you are definitely in the right place. We have our headquarters are in Wisconsin, Appleton, Wisconsin. We also have an office in Montreal, and we have a location in Australia, and really our team is located around the globe. And we do support our partner channel in solutions for end users for small, medium, and enterprise, even global companies worldwide that are really looking to take advantage of unified communications. All right, let's dive in. So let's start with some fun facts about faxing. So brief history for you. Actually, this always amazes me. Did you know that the first fax machine was actually invented way back in 1843? Yes, you heard it right. So Alexander Bain was a Scottish inventor. He developed the first fax machine that could transmit images over a wire. Of course, it was a far cry from the sleek modern fax machines we have today, and it took 6 minutes to transmit a single image. And let's just say the image quality left a lot to be desired. So we are talking that fax technology still being used today is not much different from 177 years ago. In 1924, the first transcontinental fax was sent. Fun fact, it was a photo of Calvin Coolidge sent from New York to London. And just as an FYI, in 1920, only 1% of homes in the United States had electricity or indoor plumbing. So I always think that's kind of cool. And then in 1964, Xerox Corporation introduced what many consider to be the first commercialized version of the modern fax machine. So despite the rise of email and all the other forms of digital communication we have today, faxing still remains a crucial method of sending and receiving documents. Did you know that even in 2021, more than 100 billion faxes were sent worldwide? Yep, that's right, folks. The fax is still alive and kicking. So this is why innovation is coming forward on faxing and why we're having our webinar today. So let's talk about why it's still in use. So fax still has a massive user base in the business world. It acts as a, let's say, network effect. Many businesses still use fax, so they feel the need to use it to communicate. There are several advantages for businesses using fax. It can work with the internet, or it can be isolated from the internet. It can be dedicated and on its own. It can offer confirmation pages, so proof of message receipt. That is the most important reason. It meets privacy and security requirements, legal familiarity, and honestly, it can at times be quicker for some users over email or mail. Paper is an open-ended format. It's a great and easy interface between two companies. Japanese, Chinese, and Korean characters are often written. And of course, it's an easy way to send signatures. It's less anonymous than email. It's faster than letter mail. And it offers open-ended addressing. It's a filter on communication. And let's face it, analog methods are back in style. There are certain industries that really rely on faxing: healthcare, legal, logistics, and government. They are all still frequent users of fax. And in legal and financial documents that require signature, there are terms called a wet signature and a dry signature. A wet signature is the original signature, so called because it was once, albeit briefly, wet from the ink on the document. And a dry signature is a copy or a faxed version of a wet signature. There are some businesses that will only accept a faxed signature and will not accept an emailed or scanned document with a signature. So you might wonder, do dry and wet signatures carry the same legal weight? Usually yes, but the law can still vary from state to state. Typically, banks, lenders, medical and law offices are affected the most and still heavily rely on faxing for signatures. And of course, the other reason people are reluctant to change, if it works, and I've been doing it this way for a long time, is it worth the hassle to change? Sorry, but in most cases, the answer is most definitely yes. And with the current buzz around the end of POTS lines, people use dedicated analog lines for their fax machines, it is also a great motivator to move to e-faxing or virtual faxing. So since important and vital fax communications are still very relevant today, why would you want to limit your operations of standing at a physical fax machine every time you need to send a fax? This is where e-faxing or virtual faxing really does come in. It enables the ease of sending and receiving faxes supported by several devices. So what I'm meaning here is you can send a fax with a virtual fax platform, let's say in your car with your mobile device or from your laptop, a tablet, or really any device, anywhere, anytime you have an internet connection. Another thing I want to talk about, another important factor is return on investment. So what kind of ROI does switching to virtual or electronic faxing hold? Well, no more need for the cost of a new fax machine or ongoing maintenance. If it breaks, it has to be fixed or replaced. There could be ROI if you're eliminating the cost for dedicated phone lines for your faxing. So that is a great motivation. Also, when you're faxing long distance, there typically are additional long distance charges when you're faxing on, let's say, a POTS line or a single analog phone line for your faxing. Faxing physically can create a bottleneck, whereas you can only send or receive one fax at a time. So if an additional fax is being sent to the same recipient, they will get a busy signal. So moving to a virtual fax platform can provide efficiencies and productivity for ROI. It also can offer redundancy. It's one more specialized item to buy toner for with your physical fax machines. And of course, as I mentioned, the time efficiency side of things. There is always going to be a bottleneck when you're trying to send multiple faxes on a physical fax machine. So I think if you look at these motivation um, features and benefits individually, each one of them makes sense. And when you put a few of them together, the choice is pretty clear to take a look at new technology. And let's not forget, it's a machine that uses energy even when it's on standby, which can really be a furnace in the summertime, adding to the cost to cool your office or the room down. So lots of benefits as we discussed. I am going to give you some more examples of advantages, and some of these are based on our platform, which is called SendFax.to. But, really when it comes down to it, there are some basic principles. So for example, some of the benefits of virtual faxing, you can, if you're looking to remove your physical fax machines, but still be able to send and receive fax very easily. Or if you want a combination approach, you want to keep your physical fax machines, but also do virtual faxing in combination, it can support that as well. Another huge advantage is inbound fax to email. What's cool with our platform is you can define up to 2 email addresses that will be sent the inbound fax on a per DID basis. It also supports outbound email to fax. It allows you to send an email to a fax line. Take an outbound email and you simply create a new outbound email, put in the fax number at SendFax.to. It will convert it to a fax and it'll send it to the phone number or the fax number of the destination you're trying to send it to. Another really cool benefit with our SendFax.to platform is it can offer rebrandable email alerts, and even our SendFax.to domain for resellers can be rebranded. With our platform, there's no e-fax portal. So it relies 100% on email for faxing. Fax CDRs will show all your sent and received faxes in the store. And this is really cool. You will have the ability to set a password that all fax PDFs are encrypted, even at a per group level. So if you're thinking to yourself, this sounds complicated, I promise you it isn't. That's where Tony will step in and show how easy this is. Actually, sending a physical fax, standing at a fax machine, sending a physical fax is way more challenging than electronic faxing. And Tony will walk us through that in a second. So I'm going to give you some more information on our SendFax.to platform so you can get an idea of the advantages here. So let's start with talking about inbound faxing. So this is fax to email, where you're going to receive your business faxes, let's say, into your email inbox. So the SendFax.to online portal easily configures inbound email delivery from any fax-enabled T.38 numbers available in most North America regions. And inbound faxes can be delivered to up to 2 email addresses. So for example, you could send to your receptionist, or let's say a specific department person, if it's an inbound fax for sales or for service or for accounting. You can manage and distribute your inbound faxing to the 2 email addresses that you prefer. Now for outbound faxing, you can enable and manage specific email addresses or domains to send faxes using our SendFax.to service. So each fax capable DID on your account can be associated with up to 100 authorized email addresses or email domains. So emails can be authorized to send for multiple fax DIDs. You will have businesses looking for that. So when sending a fax by email, users can easily specify which company fax number to use as the sending address. So suppose users are authorized to use multiple fax numbers. In that case, our system will allow them to choose which number to send from immediately with a follow-up email, prompting them and enabling them to select the proper account. So for example, let's say you have an assistant or receptionist sending a fax, they will be prompted by a follow-up email. What number do you want to use to send this fax? Do you want to use your service department, your legal department? And they will be able to select that for the proper outbound fax number. So let's talk about confirmations. I know this is a big ticket item. Yes, that is absolutely taken care of as well. Once your message has been sent, you will receive a confirmation email that it has been sent. So you are still going to get those confirmations that you rely on from a physical fax machine. I also want to mention with the confirmations, if you have multiple numbers associated with your fax, you will be prompted to select one for the confirmation as well for where that confirmation is to be sent to. And of course, because it's email based, it can be customized through API. So ClearlyIP does offer our partners the API solution so you can be notified via a web callback on inbound and outbound faxes if you're looking for that solution. Now, I also want to mention we have a very slick fax device so that now you can use your multifunction printers still to send and receive faxes without the expense of a dedicated traditional phone line. So bottom line is with this device, if you have internet connection, you can connect your physical fax machines and you can still fax to and from it. This is a great solution, of course, with what's happening with the replacement to POTS lines. It really is designed as a complementary appliance add-on to our SendFax.to platform. So the SendFax.to device supports the connectivity of up to 2 physical fax machines or hardware of your choice to really enjoy the flexibility of analog faxing without the expense of a dedicated fax line. So this is the combination of both worlds. If you are a customer that wants to do virtual faxing and still utilize physical faxing, but eliminate that expense of a dedicated fax line, this device will have you covered. All right, let's talk about just some basic pricing here. We have a couple of really smart, I think, purchase options for any size business. If you do low volume faxing, we start our low volume faxing solution at $9.99. This is in US dollars. That's our MSRP per month. That's going to include 300 minutes or about 400 to 450 pages a month of faxing. The per minute charge of 0.025 per minute after the 300 minutes are used. And then for our high volume package, the USD MSRP is $24.99 per month, and that includes 2,000 minutes or about 3,000 to 3,500 pages a month of faxing. The per minute charge is 0.025 per minute after the first 2,000 minutes are used. If you're not sure whether you are a low volume or high volume faxer, definitely reach out to our sales team. They have methods to help you determine what your needs are and what your current fax volume is. I also want to mention we support DIDs for fax in both US or Canada, and we charge USD MSRP $1 per month per DID. Inbound and outbound email groups are free, no cost, and with our SendFax.to platform, we offer it with no contracts. It's all month to month, and we can talk to you about discounts if you are a large volume faxer. Okay, I am now going to invite Tony to step in here and screen share our SendFax.to platform. Hi, Tony. Welcome to you.
Bre, thank you. Let me get my screen share going here. Okay, so we're going to do just a 10-minute demo here, kind of setting up a fax service here. So I'm logged into our trunking portal, and everything in our trunking portal and our cloud portal is designed around what we call location. So I have some different locations here. I think I have some trunking locations, some Clearly Cloud locations. Our fax service can be bolted on to any existing trunking location, or you can bring up a new trunking location really quickly. So I'll actually do this with bringing up a whole new trunking location. Even if we're only going to use faxing, there'd be no charge for the trunking service because you wouldn't use it. And you can use it just for faxing if you wanted. So we're going to go add a new location. We're going to pick a SIP trunk that we want to create. And we're going to do pay per minute for our calling for normal voice calls. So basically you won't have any charges then, because if you don't use this for voice and only faxing, there wouldn't be any charges going out. And I'm going to do everything on a month-to-month plan to make it simple. We're going to call this our fax demo location. We can go ahead and accept the other defaults because they don't matter, because we're only going to do faxing. So now we can start buying phone numbers. So I'm going to go procure a phone number that we can use for faxing from our Appleton where I'm based. So we'll grab that number. So far, the only thing we're going to incur any costs on is the $1 a month for the phone number. I don't need emergency services because this is only going to be using fax, so we'll skip that. And once we have this location purchase, we can then go add fax to it. So all we did here is buy metered calling, which we're not going to use because we're doing only fax. And again, if you're already a customer that has trunking with us, you can just bolt fax onto your existing location, like we're going to do here in the next step. Okay, so now that I have a location created with a phone number, we will drill into that location. Let's see here. Let's filter by the name fax, I think we called it. There we go, fax demo. So in this location, the first thing we need to do is turn on fax services. So we're going to hit the little pencil icon here and change our plan. And we can pick, as Bre talked about, from our low volume or our high volume. And as a reminder, if we click on subscription type here, it'll show us high volumes 2,000 minutes a month of faxing, low volumes 300 minutes a month. So we'll go ahead and pick low. We want one of those, so it's $9.99 a month. And 300 minutes is about 400 pages a month or so of faxing. So we'll agree to purchase that. And now we've bolted on that fax low volume call path. Now that we have that bolted on and we check out, from here we can actually go set up the service now quickly. So we're going to scroll down. Under fax inbound groups, we're going to create a new inbound group. We're going to call this sales fax. And I set up an email here, clearlysales@gmail.com. So our inbound faxes are going to go to clearlysales@gmail.com. And we have some options here. Do we want to attach the fax as a PDF to the email? Yes. Do we want to attach a link to download the PDF in the email instead of attaching the PDF? I'm not going to pick that. And if we want to encrypt the fax, the PDF, we can enable that and set what password we want used. And now the PDF will be encrypted, and to open it up, you'll have to use this password. I'm going to turn that off. And notice up here, I picked primary email only. So I'm only sending the fax to my primary email down here. I could define a secondary email, and I could say send it to the primary and secondary. And if I had appliances, our little fax appliance that Bre talked about, I could say this inbound group only goes to an appliance, and then we pick which appliance. Or we can say send it to the appliance and the primary email. So you get options here where you want to route to. So I'm going to pick primary only. We're going to save this new inbound group. And you could create multiple inbound groups if you wanted to. And now that we have an inbound group, we're going to go create an outbound group for sending faxes. And we're going to use that same email address. We're going to call this sales Gmail. And then we can set when we send an outbound from this group, what station ID do we want to show up? And that's usually the little text at the top of the first page. So I'll call it CAP fax. And in that outbound group, You can add up to 100 email addresses in that outbound group. So I only added one. I'll go edit it and show it to you. So in the outbound group, you can keep adding more email addresses, or you can do things like at ClearlyIP.com, and it will add the whole domain. So anybody who's at ClearlyIP.com will be able to use this as an outbound group. Of course, you can't do things like at Gmail. It won't let you. It'll only let you do private domains. Okay, so we have an inbound group. We have our outbound group set up. And now we just go to our phone number. And right now this number is routing as a voice number because it's routing to this location for voice. We just modify the routing rule here under the action. And we route to, and instead of the location, we want to send it to the fax service. We pick which inbound group we want to route it to, and which outbound groups are allowed to use this DID for sending outbound faxes. Save that and we're done. Okay, so we've set up our routing at this point, and now we can actually start sending and receiving faxes. So I've got my Gmail opened up here, and to send a fax, it's pretty simple. We just start typing in the phone number we want to send to. So I'm going to pick that number, and then we can provide some text here. Test fax. So anything we provide in the body here will become the cover sheet unless we attach a document called cover page. Otherwise, the body of the email will be your cover page, and then you can attach documents. So I've got a sample PDF over here I want to attach, and you can attach as many documents as you want, and we're going to hit send. Now, my Gmail address, this Clearly Sales at Gmail, is already set up with multiple fax services for outbound, and I didn't tell it which number I want to send the fax from. So it's going to send me back an email and make me confirm what number I want to use. If your email address is only associated with one phone number, it's just going to use that phone number as the outbound phone number to use for the fax. So because I have more than one, I have a quick question here. It's saying, we don't know what number you want to send this from. Click on this link. We can pick out of the, I have 3 different numbers set up with that email. I can pick which one I want to fax out from. Confirm it, and now the fax is being sent. Now, optionally, instead of sending the fax as just this phone number that I did at SendFax.to, if I tell it what caller ID to use here, it wouldn't prompt me then. So I could have just sent the fax to this phone number. That's who I want to fax to. And I want to use this fax number as my caller ID, SendFax.to, and then it wouldn't have prompted me. And again, if your email is only associated with one outbound group, then it's just going to send it out. It's not going to prompt you. It's only if you're going to associate your email with multiple outbound groups, which isn't a really common thing, but we do support it. So now that fax is queued up and it's running, and we'll get an email confirmation back that'll look like this saying, hey, we successfully sent that fax. They'll say what number of what it used for caller ID, what it sent, who it sent the fax to, and it will include any attachments that you had. I didn't have any attachments, so it doesn't have them here. Actually, I bet right here. There's the one we just sent together. So it sent it from this phone number. It was 3 pages. It was able to send 3 pages. And that's the number it sent it to. It was able to do all 3 pages in 37 seconds at a speed of 14.4. So that is my demo. Back over to you, Bre, in the Q&A area.
Great.
So, just when we think fax is dead, we now have mobile apps to fax from our smartphone. Not so much a mobile app, I'm sure. I mean, there's companies that have them, but we're all email-based to make it really simple for people that need faxing. Where does the fax machine plug into your SendFax.to device? There's 2 ports in the back of it. There's 2 different FXS ports, little RJ11 ports on the back of the appliance. How reliable is fax over IP, and what measures are in place to ensure the continuity of fax communication? So more reliable than ever faxing over SIP is. So the device itself communicates encrypted to our data centers. Our data centers take that fax, that blob, and converts it to a proper V29 faxing protocol and sends it out to the PSTN. as far as what's in place to ensure the communications. There's a bunch of retries built in. You'll get an email alert if there's any communication errors that we're not able to send the fax after so many retries. But from a reliability standpoint, it's a great success rate for most of our customers. We're seeing well into the high 90s on their fax success rate, much better than their analog POTS lines have been for them. Can you discuss any redundancy or failover mechanism for SendFax.to? There's a bunch of retries built into the application. So depending if you're using the fax to email, email to fax, or the device, it retries stuff. Let's say the internet's down and you're using the little device itself and you're sending outbound faxes, that will queue them up. And once your internet's back up, it will relay them out to our cloud and vice versa. If inbound faxes come in and we can't reach that little device and you're doing faxing to the little appliance, our data, the cloud system will keep trying to recommunicate. And once that comes back up, the little premise gateway, it will then get all the faxes and relay them to your fax machine. What security measures are in place to protect fax communications in a virtual environment? I'm not sure what you mean by in a virtual environment. Again, we're fax to email, so it's all, we're either on that actual fax device, which you have plugged in your fax machine, or we're sending faxes through email, and inbound faxes can be encrypted, the PDFs. So I'm not sure what you mean by virtual environment. Are we compliant with HIPAA? So we allow you to be compliant with HIPAA. We ourselves cannot be, because we don't know what the faxes say. We don't know how you're storing your faxes when you get them. Everything we have is encrypted. All of our communications, everything we store is encrypted at rest. So we allow you to be HIPAA compliant as long as things like if you have a physical fax machine plugged into the ATA, as long as that's in an area that allows you to be HIPAA compliant, for example, not in a common area. If you're doing fax to email, as long as you're enabling the encrypt the PDF, we allow you to be HIPAA compliant. Is there a way we can determine the volume of faxing we're doing with our current traditional faxing to determine what plan we need? I couldn't tell you. Maybe your fax machine has a usage report on it, or if you're using an eFax platform, they should have some usage report. It would all depend on what you're using. Encrypted fax qualify for HIPAA? Yep, so we covered that. That will qualify you for HIPAA. Do you suggest practical page limits? I have experienced T38 faxing from physical fax machines flaked out at 20-ish pages. You shouldn't see that here. Again, we're not relying on T38 for it, so we see great results with large, long faxes. Again, this is not faxing over SIP or trying to use T38 in that type of protocol communicating. So we see great success rates. Again, half of faxing problem is the people you're faxing to, the other side of it. We only control one side of it, of course. What are the differences between this and using free PBX built-in fax feature? This is a whole cloud service. It's designed just for faxing. It's got the little ATA to plug your fax machines in. It doesn't use any SIP. It's completely different than bringing faxing into your PBX across SIP. This is designed for reliability in mind. Okay, Bre, that seems to be all the questions.
Fantastic. Great questions. Thank you for handling that, Tony. Well, thank you everybody so much for attending our fax webinar. I hope that was insightful on the benefits and advantages of really moving to a virtual fax platform like our SendFax.to solution. And with that fax device, you can really maintain the best of both worlds if you're looking to still continue physical faxing and move to a virtual fax platform that is 100% reliant on email. So that's it for today's webinar and presentation and questions. If you do have any further questions that you'd like to ask, feel free to reach out to our sales team at any time. They're very knowledgeable on the subject and can definitely help you, and even hopefully help you take a look at whatever reports you might have access to on your current faxing volume, so that we can help you figure out what your needs are. We have a couple other events coming up shortly that you are more than welcome to attend. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about our company and the other solutions that we provide, we actually have an event coming up in a week and a half, 2 weeks, here on December 14th. The month is flying by. This is a really in-depth webinar on all our solutions and services and products that we offer at ClearlyIP. So it's an entire portfolio review. Tony will not be doing a live demonstration in this webinar. It will simply be with yours truly taking you through all the products and pieces of our entire portfolio. So we look so forward to having you join us. If you're available, come join me on December 14th. Otherwise, that's it for today. appreciate you taking your time out of your schedule to join me and Tony, and just really wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, Tony, and we'll connect with you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.